What if I told you that one of the most extreme places on Earth, the Gobi Desert, is hiding secrets that could literally rewrite history? This isn't just a massive pile of sand, it's a time capsule, and today, we're going to smash it open. For centuries, people have seen this place as a wasteland, but beneath the surface, explorers have found things you wouldn't believe. We're talking about the biggest dinosaur graveyards on the planet, entire cities that just vanished, and artifacts from ancient people who somehow survived out here. This desert is absolutely insane, and we're just scratching the surface. We're not just talking about a few old bones or some broken pottery. Explorers have uncovered complete dinosaur skeletons locked in battle, perfectly preserved for millions of years. They've found clues to ancient civilizations that thrived here before being completely swallowed by the shifting sands. Imagine walking through a bustling city one day, and the next, it's just gone, buried under a mountain of sand. The Gobi is also home to some of the weirdest natural phenomena you'll ever see, like sand dunes that literally sing and mirages that look so real they've tricked people for generations. It's like a real-life video game with hidden levels and secret bosses. So get ready, because today we're going on an epic adventure deep into the Gobi Desert to uncover its craziest secrets. We're going to look at the legendary fossils, the lost cities, and the stuff that even scientists can't explain. I promise you by the end of this video you will be completely blown away by what's buried out there. Forget everything you think you know about deserts. You'll never look at deserts the same way again. Alright, let's kick things off with the most insane thing about the Gobi Desert. The dinosaurs. This isn't like finding a couple of random bones. This place is literally the world's biggest and best preserved dinosaur graveyard. Imagine a place so rich with fossils that you could practically trip over a 70-million-year-old velociraptor skull. That's the Gobi. For over a century, paleontologists have been coming here and making discoveries that have completely changed what we know about dinosaurs. It's like every time they dig, they find a new species or a fossil that solves a huge mystery. The first major expeditions here, led by guys like Roy Chapman Andrews back in the 1920s, were like something out of an Indiana Jones movie. They were battling sandstorms, extreme temperatures, and had no modern technology. But what they found was worth it all. They were the first people to discover dinosaur eggs, proving for the first time that these giant creatures laid eggs just like birds. That discovery alone was monumental. It was like finding the ultimate Easter egg, but instead of chocolate, it was a priceless piece of prehistoric evidence that rocked the scientific world. Think about that for a second. Before these guys went into the Gobi, nobody knew for sure how dinosaurs reproduced. They found entire nests of Protoceratops eggs, perfectly preserved. It was a game changer, but that was just the beginning. The Gobi kept delivering more and more incredible finds. The sheer number of fossils is mind-boggling. We're talking about entire herds of dinosaurs that were seemingly buried alive in an instant by sudden, massive sandstorms, freezing them in time. These conditions created what paleontologists call a Lagerstätte, which is a fancy word for a fossil site with exceptional preservation. It means you don't just find bones, you find complete skeletons, sometimes with skin impressions, fossilized stomach contents, and even signs of behavior. It's the closest thing we have to a time machine, giving us a perfect snapshot of life in the Cretaceous period. The level of detail is just unbelievable, allowing scientists to piece together the prehistoric world with stunning accuracy. One of the most famous fossils ever found here is the fighting dinosaurs. It's a fossil of a velociraptor locked in a death match with a Protoceratops. The velociraptor has its deadly claw plunged into the Protoceratops' neck, while the Protoceratops has bitten down on the velociraptor's arm. They were buried together in the middle of their fight. Can you even imagine that? It's not just a fossil, it's a story, a dramatic moment of life and death preserved for 80 million years. It's one of the most incredible paleontological finds in history. This single fossil tells us so much about how these animals behaved. It confirms that Velociraptor was a fierce predator, not just a scavenger. It shows the brutal reality of the prehistoric food chain. Discoveries like this are why the Gobi is so legendary. It doesn't just give us bones, it gives us action scenes from a world that disappeared millions of years before the first human ever walked the earth. It's like finding a photograph of a live dinosaur battle. And the discoveries just keep coming. Every year, new expeditions uncover more secrets. They found feathered dinosaurs, which helped prove the link between dinosaurs and modern birds. They found giant bird-like dinosaurs called Gigantoraptors, which were over 25 feet long. The Gobi is the gift that keeps on giving to paleontologists. It's a vast, open-air museum, and we've probably only uncovered a tiny fraction of what's actually buried out there under the sand. Imagine how many more fighting dinosaurs or completely new species are still waiting to be found. The Gobi's fossil record is so complete that scientists can study how different dinosaur species evolved over millions of years, all within this one region. It's like having an entire chapter of Earth's history laid out in front of you. The sheer scale of it is hard to comprehend. It's not just a desert, it's a prehistoric battleground. The preservation is so good that scientists can even study the diseases that afflicted dinosaurs by looking at their bones. They can see evidence of fractures that healed, infections, and even tumors. It brings these creatures to life in a way that isolated bones from other parts of the world simply can't. You can almost feel the presence of these ancient giants when you see the evidence they left behind in the Gobi. So when you think of the Gobi, don't just think of sand. Think of it as the ultimate treasure chest for anyone who loves dinosaurs. It's a place where the line between the present and the deep past gets incredibly blurry. The ground beneath your feet could be holding the key to the next great scientific breakthrough, a complete skeleton of a creature no one has ever seen before. It's a real-life Jurassic Park, and the adventure of discovery is far from over. Okay, dinosaurs are awesome. But what's even crazier is that humans actually lived in this brutal environment thousands of years ago. Long before the Silk Road, long before Genghis Khan, ancient people not only survived in the Gobi, they thrived. And just like with the dinosaurs, the desert has preserved their story in incredible detail. Archaeologists digging in the Gobi have found a treasure trove of human relics that are tens of thousands of years old. This isn't just a couple of arrowheads, we're talking about a continuous record of human life stretching back into the Stone Age. Beneath the shifting sands, explorers have uncovered ancient workshops where early humans crafted tools. Imagine a spot, frozen in time with stone cores, sharp flakes, and half-finished blades scattered around exactly as they were left 40,000 years ago. These sites are like a window into the daily lives of our distant ancestors. They show us that these weren't just primitive people struggling to survive, they were skilled craftspeople with a deep understanding of their environment, creating sophisticated tools to hunt and live. The types of stone tools found here are incredibly diverse, showing a long history of innovation and cultural exchange. Archaeologists have found everything from large, crude hand axes from the lower Paleolithic to finely crafted microblades from later periods. This tells us that the Gobi wasn't an isolated wasteland, but a place that different groups of people moved through and inhabited over immense periods, each leaving their own technological signature behind in the sand for us to find. Beyond tools, the desert has also preserved ancient burial sites, which give us an incredibly personal look into the lives of these people. Finding a skeleton is one thing, but finding it buried with intention, with offerings and in a specific position, tells you about their beliefs, their rituals, and their concept of an afterlife. Some of the graves found in the Gobi region contain jewelry, pottery, and other personal items, suggesting these early cultures had a rich spiritual life and cared deeply for their dead. These discoveries challenge the idea that early human innovation was centered only in places like Africa or Europe. The Gobi was also a cradle of human ingenuity. The people here adapted to one of the harshest climates on Earth. They faced extreme heat, bitter cold, and crippling drought. Their ability to survive and build communities in this landscape is a testament to human resilience and creativity. They were true pioneers of their time. Archaeological evidence suggests that the Gobi wasn't always as dry as it is today. There were periods when it was a savanna, with lakes and rivers crisscrossing the landscape. The ancient relics we find are often clustered around the shores of these long-vanished lakes. You can almost picture our ancestors hunting wild animals that came to drink at the water's edge, using the very tools that archaeologists are digging up today. The desert is like a history book of climate change itself. These ancient people weren't just passing through, they were building communities. Researchers have found evidence of semi-permanent settlements, with hearths, post holes from ancient structures, and large accumulations of artifacts. This shows that they were able to establish a foothold and create a society in an environment that we would consider almost uninhabitable today. They weren't just surviving, they were living. One of the most fascinating aspects is the rock art found throughout the region. On cliffs and rock outcrops, ancient people carved and painted images of their world. These petroglyphs depict hunting scenes, animals like ibex and camels, and abstract symbols whose meanings are now lost to time. This art is a direct message from the past, a way for these ancient people to communicate their stories, beliefs, and experiences across thousands of years. It's like their version of YouTube, permanently etched in stone. The study of these relics is crucial for understanding the story of human migration across Asia. The Gobi was a critical corridor, and sometimes a barrier, for populations moving between Siberia, China, and Central Asia. By analyzing the tools, DNA from burial sites, and other evidence, scientists can piece together the complex puzzle of how and when different groups of people populated the continent. The desert holds the key to answering some of the biggest questions about our own origins. So, every stone tool, every piece of pottery, every ancient grave found in the Gobi adds another pixel to the high-resolution picture of our human story. It's a stark reminder that even in the most unforgiving corners of the world, our ancestors found a way to live, to create, and to leave their mark. The sand of the Gobi isn't just burying dinosaurs, it's protecting the legacy of the earliest human adventurers who dared to call it home. Okay, this is where things get really crazy. We've talked about dinosaurs and ancient humans, but what about entire cities? For centuries, there have been legends of magnificent lost cities filled with treasure that were swallowed whole by the sands of the Gobi. For a long time, people thought these were just myths, campfire stories told by traders on the Silk Road. But what if I told you some of them were real? Explorers and archaeologists are now finding evidence that proves some of these legends are true. One of the most famous of these lost cities is Karakoto, the Black City. Founded over 1,000 years ago, it was a thriving multicultural hub on the Silk Road. It had towering walls, Buddhist monasteries, marketplaces, and a population of thousands. It was a major center of trade and culture for the Tangut Empire. But then, in the 14th century, legend says it was besieged by the armies of the Ming dynasty. After a brutal siege where the city's water supply was cut off, it fell and was abandoned, left to be consumed by the desert. For almost 600 years, Karakoto was nothing more than a ghost story. Then, in the early 20th century, a Russian explorer named Pyotr Kozlov, guided by local legends, rediscovered it. What he found was breathtaking. The ruins were remarkably well preserved by the dry desert air. He found fortress walls still standing over 30 feet high, crumbling stupas, and entire buildings half buried in the sand. It was a ghost city, eerily silent, a snapshot of a civilization that had just vanished. Kozlov's expedition uncovered a library of over 2,000 books and manuscripts written in the Tangut language, which had been completely lost to history. This discovery was like finding the Rosetta Stone for an entire civilization. Thanks to these texts found at Karakoto, scholars were able to decipher the Tangut script and unlock the secrets of their culture, laws, and literature. A forgotten empire was literally brought back to life, all because its capital city was rediscovered under the sand. The story of Karakoto is not unique. There are rumors of many other lost settlements scattered throughout the Gobi. The ancient Silk Road which cut through the desert was dotted with oasis towns and trading posts. As the climate changed, rivers dried up, and sand dunes advanced, many of these places would have been slowly choked out of existence, forcing their inhabitants to leave. The desert became a relentless tide, swallowing everything in its path. Modern technology is now playing a huge role in finding these lost cities. Archaeologists are using satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar to peer beneath the sand without ever lifting a shovel. They can identify the outlines of ancient walls, streets, and irrigation canals from space. These digital ghosts on a screen guide them to the exact locations where entire cities might be waiting to be excavated. It's like a massive real-life treasure hunt using space-age tech. Imagine what else is still out there. We know of Karakoto, but what about the cities mentioned in other legends, the ones we haven't found yet? The Gobi is massive, over 500,000 square miles. It could be hiding dozens of settlements that we know nothing about. Each one could be another time capsule, holding priceless artifacts and knowledge from a bygone era, just waiting for the right person to find it. These lost cities are more than just archaeological curiosities. They are powerful warnings about climate change and desertification. They show how quickly a thriving civilization can be brought to its knees when its environment turns against it. The people of Karakoto didn't just disappear. They were forced to flee as their world turned to dust. It's a story that feels incredibly relevant today. The artifacts found in these cities paint a vivid picture of life on the Silk Road. They've found coins from the Roman Empire, silks from China, glassware from Persia, and Buddhist art with Greek influences. These cities were true melting pots where people, goods, and ideas from all over the world came together. They were the ancient equivalent of our modern globalized world, and their ruins are proof of that interconnectedness. So, the Gobi Desert is not just an empty space, it's a graveyard of empires. It's a place where you can walk through the streets of a city that has been silent for centuries. The legends of lost cities filled with treasure weren't entirely wrong. The treasure isn't gold and jewels, but something far more valuable. Knowledge, history, and a direct connection to the incredible civilizations that once conquered the desert. Just when you think the Gobi can't get any weirder, you find the stuff that nobody can explain. Beyond the famous lost cities and known archaeological sites, the desert is littered with mysterious ruins and strange structures that have left experts completely stumped. These aren't just old buildings, they are puzzles made of stone and earth, with no clear purpose or origin. It's like finding a glitch in the historical matrix. These are the kinds of discoveries that fuel wild theories and endless debate. One of the most baffling examples is the vast network of ancient stone walls, sometimes called the Mongolian Arc. These aren't fortress walls like at Karakodo. They are low, meandering structures, stretching for hundreds of miles across the desert. They don't seem to enclose anything specific, and they don't seem to be for defense. Some sections are just a few feet high. So what on earth were they for? Who built them? And why? Scientists have dated some of these walls to the medieval period, but their purpose remains a complete mystery. Some theories suggest they were used to manage or channel herds of gazelle for hunting. Others speculate they were ancient property lines or territorial markers between different nomadic tribes, but no single theory fits all the evidence. It's a massive, landscape-sized enigma that someone spent an incredible amount of effort to build, for a reason we just don't understand. Then there are the bizarre geoglyphs. Similar to the Nazca lines in Peru but far less known, there are giant geometric shapes and patterns etched into the desert floor. These can only be properly seen from the air. We're talking about massive squares, lines, and complex grids carved into the earth. They were discovered using satellite imagery, and they are so remote and ancient that no one knows who made them or what they signify. Were they ancient astronomical calendars? Religious symbols meant to be seen by gods in the sky? Or could they have been navigational aids for ancient travelers? The scale is immense, sometimes covering several square miles. The precision required to create these shapes on such a large scale without an aerial view is mind-boggling. It's a mystery that makes you question everything you thought you knew about the capabilities of ancient people. Archaeologists have also found strange stone circles and megalithic structures, similar to Stonehenge but on a smaller scale, in remote parts of the Gobi. These arrangements of large standing stones are clearly man-made and deliberate, often aligned with celestial events like the solstice. However, we have no written records or oral traditions that explain their significance. They are silent monuments, their purpose lost to the mists of time. These sites challenge our understanding of the people who lived here. We often think of the ancient inhabitants of the Gobi as purely pragmatic nomads, focused only on survival. But these mysterious ruins suggest they also had complex belief systems, an interest in astronomy, and the organizational capacity to undertake massive construction projects that had no obvious practical function. They were building for reasons beyond just shelter and defense. The lack of answers is what makes these ruins so captivating. Unlike Karakodo, where we found a library to explain its history, these sites offer no such clues. There are no inscriptions, no artifacts that clearly spell out their purpose. All we have are the stones themselves, standing silently in the vast emptiness of the desert, daring us to figure them out. It's the ultimate cold case file for archaeologists. Some of these structures are so strange that they've attracted fringe theories involving ancient aliens or lost hyper-advanced civilizations. While scientists look for more grounded explanations, you can understand why people's imaginations run wild. When faced with a massive, inexplicable structure in the middle of nowhere, it's easy to wonder if its origins are truly from this world. The mystery is just that compelling. Every one of these unexplained ruins is a question mark on the map of human history. They remind us that the past is not a closed book. There are still huge chapters that are completely blank or written in a language we can't yet read. The Gobi Desert, with its strange walls, giant geoglyphs, and silent stone circles, is one of the best places on Earth to come face to face with just how much we still don't know about our own story. As if dinosaurs, lost cities, and ancient mysteries weren't enough, the Gobi Desert itself seems to be alive with some of the most bizarre and surreal natural phenomena on the planet. This isn't just about the extreme heat or cold. The desert actively plays tricks on your mind and senses. It's a place where the laws of nature seem to bend, creating experiences that are straight out of a fantasy novel. If you thought the man-made stuff was weird, wait until you see what the desert does all by itself. The most famous of these phenomena is the singing sands or whistling dunes. Yes, you heard that right. There are massive sand dunes in the Gobi, some of them hundreds of feet high, that literally sing. When the wind blows across the sand at the right speed, or when you slide down the face of the dune, it produces a deep, humming, resonant sound. It can be as loud as a low-flying airplane, a powerful, vibrating hum that you can feel in your chest. Scientists believe this sound is caused by the friction of sand grains of a specific size and shape rubbing against each other, creating vibrations that get amplified by the massive body of the dune. But knowing the science doesn't make it any less magical. Imagine standing in the middle of a silent desert and hearing the ground itself start to sing a low, booming song. Ancient travelers like Marco Polo wrote about these sounds, attributing them to evil spirits trying to lure them to their doom. Then, there are the mirages. The Gobi is notorious for its Fata Morgana mirages, which are not your typical shimmering puddles on a hot road. These are complex, hyper-realistic optical illusions that can look like entire cities, lakes, or mountain ranges on the horizon. The extreme temperature differences between the hot ground and the cooler air above it bend light rays, creating distorted and magnified images of distant objects, or sometimes nothing at all. Explorers have documented seeing detailed images of castles, lush forests, and vast oceans in the middle of the most arid part of the desert. These mirages are so convincing that they have led countless travelers astray, chasing after an oasis that was never there. They are like ghostly projections, dreamscapes painted on the air by the physics of the desert. You could be looking at a perfect image of a city that's actually hundreds of miles away or one that doesn't even exist. The Gobi also experiences some of the most extreme temperature swings on Earth. It's not just hot. In the summer, temperatures can soar above 120 degrees Fahrenheit, while in the winter they can plummet to 40 degrees below zero. You can get frost on the sand dunes. This incredible range creates a unique and brutal environment, where only the most specialized plants and animals, like the two-humped Bactrian camel and the elusive Gobi bear, can survive. Another strange sight is the Saxaul forests. These aren't forests in the traditional sense. Saxaul trees are bizarre, gnarled, leafless plants that look like something from a Tim Burton movie. They are incredibly hardy, with deep root systems that find water far below the surface. A grove of these twisted skeletal trees standing in the middle of a vast, empty plain is an eerie and otherworldly sight, a testament to the tenacity of life in the face of impossible conditions. The desert also produces something called desert varnish, a dark, glossy coating that forms on rocks over thousands of years. It's created by bacteria and cemented to the rock by wind-blown clay. This is the dark surface on which ancient people carved their petroglyphs, creating a stark contrast between the light-colored rock underneath and the dark varnish on top. The desert itself provides the canvas for ancient art. And let's not forget the flaming cliffs. This isn't a phenomenon of fire, but of light. It's a place where the reddish-orange sandstone cliffs and bluffs glow with an intense, fiery color at sunrise and sunset. This is the very spot where Roy Chapman Andrews first discovered dinosaur eggs. The way the low-angle light hits the sediment makes the entire landscape look like it's on fire, creating a breathtaking and unforgettable spectacle. From sand that sings a booming song to ghostly cities that shimmer in the heat, the Gobi is a natural wonder that constantly defies expectations. It's a landscape that is both a creator and a destroyer, a place of profound silence and powerful sound, of stark emptiness and incredible life. It proves that even in the most desolate places on Earth there is magic and wonder to be found if you just know where to look. From dinosaur battlegrounds frozen in time to entire cities swallowed by sand, the Gobi Desert is so much more than an empty wasteland. It's a library of Earth's history, where every grain of sand tells a story. We've seen how it preserved the giants of the prehistoric world, the tools of our earliest ancestors, and the magnificent cities of forgotten empires. We've uncovered mysteries that still baffle the smartest people on the planet, and witnessed natural wonders that seem to defy reality itself. The Gobi is one of the most epic and mysterious places on Earth, and we've only scratched the surface today. The secrets buried here are a powerful reminder of how much we still have to discover about our world and our own past. Every new fossil, every ruin uncovered by shifting sands, rewrites a piece of our history. It's a place of incredible discovery, but also a stark warning of the power of nature and the fragility of civilization. The stories of the Gobi are not just ancient history. They are epic tales of survival, innovation, and mystery that continue to unfold. So, what are you waiting for? There's a whole world of adventure out there, with secrets waiting to be found under every rock and every dune. I want you to be part of this journey. If you thought this was crazy, you have no idea what we have planned next. So, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Now, what are you still doing here? Hit play and journey into the heart of one of Earth's last great frontiers.